You know what I've noticed? Most people don't have a motivation problem. They have an avoidance problem. Think about that. People avoid difficult conversations. They avoid difficult decisions. They avoid looking at their finances. They avoid asking for help. They avoid grief. They avoid trauma. Sometimes they even avoid looking in the mirror because they don't like the person looking back. And avoidance feels good at first. That's why people do it. If it felt terrible immediately, nobody would choose it. But avoidance gives you temporary relief. The problem is temporary relief often creates permanent consequences. Imagine you have a leak in your roof. You notice it. You know it's there. But instead of fixing it, you put a bucket underneath it. The bucket works for a little while, so you keep using the bucket. Weeks go by. Months go by. Eventually, the ceiling starts to rot. Now you've got mold. Now you've got structural damage. The leak wasn't the biggest problem anymore. Ignoring it was. Life works the same way. Most problems don't destroy us overnight. They grow quietly while we're pretending they're not there. Sometimes we avoid conversations. You know the one. The conversation with your spouse, your parents, your kids, your friend. The apology you've needed to give, or maybe the boundary you've needed to set. We tell ourselves we'll do it tomorrow. Then tomorrow becomes next week, then next month, and then next year. Meanwhile, the relationship keeps getting worse. Not because nobody cared, but because nobody talked. Sometimes people feel emotions. Instead of feeling sadness, they distract themselves. Instead of processing grief, they stay busy. Instead of admitting they're struggling, they smile. Eventually, you get really good at pretending. So good that other people believe you're okay. Sometimes even you believe you're okay. But buried emotions don't disappear. They wait. And eventually, they show up somewhere else. Maybe as anger. Maybe as anxiety. Maybe as addiction. Maybe as isolation. I've learned that pain doesn't disappear just because you ignore it. It usually finds another way to introduce itself. Avoidance also shows up in our goals. People say they want to change. They want a better job, a healthier body, a stronger relationship, more peace, more discipline. But then they avoid the very things that would create those results. They avoid waking up earlier. They avoid learning something new. They avoid uncomfortable conversations. They avoid accountability. And then they wonder why nothing changes. Here's something I've had to learn myself. Growth usually lives on the other side of discomfort. Not comfort, but discomfort. The conversation you're avoiding might be the conversation that saves your relationship. The decision you're avoiding might be the one that changes your future. The truth you're avoiding might be the thing that finally gives you peace. I think a lot of people are waiting for confidence before they act. But confidence usually comes after action. not before it. Every time you've ever learned something difficult, you probably weren't confident when you started. You became confident because you kept showing up. So maybe the question isn't, what am I afraid of? Maybe the better question is, what is avoidance costing me? Every time you've ever learned something difficult, you probably weren't confident when you started. You became confident because you kept showing up. So maybe the question isn't, what am I afraid of? Maybe the better question is, what is avoidance costing me? Because it's costing something. It might be time, it might be relationships, it might be opportunities, it might be peace. And one day, all of us will look back on our lives. The question is, will we be proud that we faced the hard things? Or will we realize we spent years avoiding the very things that could have changed our lives? At the end of the day, avoidance doesn't protect you. It delays the work. And delayed work usually becomes bigger work. So maybe today isn't about fixing your entire life. Maybe it's about facing the one thing you've been avoiding. Because sometimes one honest decision changes everything.